In the quiet village of Qana, Lebanon, on April 18, 1996, the Israeli Defense Forces, often hailed as the most moral army in the world, unleashed a barrage of hellfire that exposed their true face, one of brutality, indifference to human life, and a willingness to slaughter civilians in pursuit of dominance. This wasn't a battle against armed fighters. It was a calculated massacre of the innocent, hidden behind excuses and lies. Over 100 Lebanese civilians, more than half children and women, were torn apart in a UN shelter they thought was safe. And the IDF? They called it a mistake. But the evidence screams otherwise. Let's set the stage for this atrocity. For years, Israel occupied southern Lebanon, a land grab that began with their 1982 invasion. Hezbollah, born from resistance to this occupation, fired rockets into northern Israel, primitive compared to Israel's arsenal. In response, Prime Minister Shimon Peres launched Operation Grapes of Wrath in April 1996, a 16-day blitz of airstrikes and shelling that displaced 500,000 Lebanese. The goal? Crush Hezbollah and terrorize the population into submission. But on that fateful day in Qana, the IDF crossed into outright war crimes. Hundreds of terrified refugees, families fleeing the bombs, had crammed into a United Nations compound, marked clearly with blue UN flags. It was a sanctuary, or so they believed. Israeli forces knew exactly where it was. It was on their maps, and they'd coordinated with UNIFIL for years. Yet when a small Hezbollah mortar team fired from nearby, 170 meters away, not inside, the IDF didn't just respond proportionally. They pounded the area with 155mm artillery shells, including anti-personnel rounds designed to shred flesh over wide areas. At 2 p.m., the shells hit. Not stray fire, not an accident. The barrage shifted deliberately toward the compound. 13 to 36 rounds in 17 minutes, even as UN peacekeepers radioed desperately, "Civilians are here, stop!" But the IDF kept firing. Shrapnel tore through tents, walls collapsed on screaming refugees, and fires consumed the living and dead alike. One survivor lost 22 family members in an instant. Children in nightclothes, elders seeking peace, all reduced to mangled corpses. Israel's surveillance drones hovered overhead the whole time, filming the horror. They saw the UN flags, the refugees. This wasn't erroneous data or a faulty map, as the IDF lied. A UN investigation by artillery expert Major General Franklin Van Kappen concluded it was unlikely a mere error. It looked intentional. Human Rights Watch called it a violation of international law, blasting Israel's use of deadly shells near civilians. But the IDF? They blamed Hezbollah for human shields, a cynical deflection to whitewash their crimes. The world recoiled in horror. Graphic images of dismembered children fueled condemnation from every corner, except, predictably, the United States, which shielded Israel from UN action. The massacre ended the operation early, but at what cost? It cost Shimon Peres his election, as even Arab Israelis turned away in disgust. Yet no IDF officer faced justice. Lawsuits by survivors were dismissed, impunity reigned, and it wasn't the last time. In 2006, during another war, the IDF struck Qana again, bombing a building full of families, killing 28, including 16 children. Again, claims of Hezbollah nearby, again debunked by investigations. Pattern? Absolutely. Israel's military doctrine: overwhelming force, civilian lives be damned. The Qana massacre isn't ancient history. It's a stain on the IDF that festers today, with ongoing strikes in Lebanon echoing the same disregard for life. Israel portrays itself as a victim, but in Qana, the victims were Lebanese innocents, murdered by an army that values occupation over humanity. This is the real IDF, not defenders, but aggressors hiding behind power and propaganda. We must remember, we must condemn until justice is served.